Today we're going over the worst Planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. We've got to look at real stinkers here. If I've heard of the Planeswalker, then it's probably, you know, at least decent. Let's start off with the King. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to mention this one anyway throughout the day. Tibalt the Fiend Blooded. We've got our double red 2 loyalty Planeswalker. I mean, this was... Just looking at the casting cost, you might think this card might be busted. Absolutely busted. You know, Ren and 6 busted. A 2-mana Planeswalker. Well, what is it gonna do? Okay, so +1, draw a card. Then you have to discard a card at random. So you don't net any cards, and you might put like either one of your key important land drops directly into the graveyard, or the card that you wanted to curve out for the turn. And then there's no other useful abilities at that point. Then we go -4. Tibalt the Fiend Blooded deals damage equal to the number of cards in target player's hand to that player. Well, I mean, by the time you like pull this off, you're gonna like sack them and maybe only deal 3 damage because your opponent already dumped their hand. And then -6. Gain control of all creatures until end of turn. Untap them, they gain haste until end of turn. One of the arguably the worst Planeswalker in the history of Magic the Gathering. Alright, Zachary with Liliana Deathwielder. Liliana. Not every Liliana is a hero. Okay, 7 mana. We're already on the right track. +2. Put a -1/-1 counter on up to 1 target creature. One creature for 7 mana. You put a -1/-1 counter on it. Well, we're gonna kill you slowly. This is like death by 1,000 cuts. -3, destroy target creature. Well, thank God. With a -1/-1 counter on it. So we have to set us up the bomb first. We have to go +2 to put the -1/-1 counter on it. Then we go -3 to destroy it. For 7 mana, we might as well just blow up anything. There's got to be Planeswalkers out there that do that. This is the most cumbersome way to kill a creature. And then we've got -10. Return all creature cards from your graveyard to the battlefield. That's pretty good. That one's not bad. And you're also going to keep your Liliana. If you go +2, +2, +2, you get to 11, you go -10. But all the other abilities in between are pretty garbage. I agree that this is a really terrible Planeswalker. Alright, we've got Liquid Soulfly, Hualti, the Dinosaur Knight. Knight of the Dinosaurs. Did I not spell this right? Oh, sorry, Huatli. Dinosaur Knight. Alright, we got a red, white, 4 generic Huatli. 4 loyalty. +2. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target dinosaur you control. Pretty narrow. But if you're on that dinosaur kick, then, you know, you're on you love the dinosaur decks, then that will be good for you. -3, or you'll be like, okay. Remember, we're at 6 mana. We should be doing some pretty busted things at this point. -3, target dinosaur you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature you don't control. Now, all these things require that you have a dinosaur in play. If you go target, okay, -3, target dinosaur I control deals something to that thing, you could just in response blow it up. You can destroy the creature and then it won't do anything. You can make the ability fizzle. And then -7, dinosaurs you control get +4/+4 until end of turn. Why is it always until end of turn? Why can't we just have it permanently? We are here with... How many dinos are there? Oh, look. There's a decent chunk of dinos. There's not a decent chunk of good dinos. If you know what I'm saying. But we're going back to Ixalan. We're going back to the dinosaurs. We're going back in time. We're gonna find those dinosaurs. We're gonna turn fossils into reality. All right, Sophie, Mu Yanling. I think all the Mu Yanlings actually suck. Mu Yanling, Celestial Wind. I'm a huge fan of Mu Yan. Did I spell her name right? Oops. Yanling. Mu Yanling! All of them are pretty bad. Let's go with the Celestial Wind. Blue, 4 generic, 5 loyalty. +1 until your next turn. Up to 1 target creature gets -5, -0. I hate these abilities. Why do they give blue this really useless ability to, like, I don't know, temporarily weaken the creature? Just tap it! Just tap the thing down. Just frost it. You know, tap it down. It can untap during its controller's next untap step. I think it'd be awesome. -3, return up to 2 target creatures to their owner's hands. That's not terrible, but you're basically gonna blow 6 mana to bounce 2 cards, and then -7 creatures you control with flying get +5/+5 until end of turn. This must be some sort of dual deck types of planeswalkers where the ultimate is this big attack for the win. I also want to give a shout out to Mu Yanling Sky Dancer, which looks good. It looks good on the surface, but I've tried to make this work in actual competition, and it just doesn't get there because the turn it comes down, you do nothing. Basically, okay, until in your next turn, up to 1 creature gets, again, that useless -2, -0, and loses flying. And I can't even put anything on the back. I don't affect the board, really, anything meaningful. I don't bounce anything. I don't put any creature in play. So anyway, not in love with that card. Alright, moving on. We've got Black Lance Geo, Nico Bolas, the Deceiver. Nicol Bolas. Who's deceiving who? Okay, black, red, blue, 5 generic for a 5 loyalty Bolas. Okay, +3, each opponent loses 3 life unless that player sacrifices a non-land permanent or discards a card. Especially in Commander, you'd be like, alright, I'll just take the 3 life. -3, destroy target creature, draw a card. That's not bad. That's a, you know, we look at some other cards where, you know, like Liliana, for a similar amount of mana, you don't even destroy a creature outright. And this thing can at least destroy the creature and draw a card. Although it's going to be really loyal in loyalty at that point. You, like, basically spent 8 mana, blow up creature, draw a card, and then Nicol Bolas is going to be too weak and then just, you know, basically keel over and die. What's the ultimate? -11. Nicol Bolas, the Deceiver, deals 7 damage to each opponent. You draw 7 cards. I'm going to give a quick vote out to everyone. Does everyone think that this is a terrible planeswalker? Is this one of the worst? It's 8 mana. But I mean, that ultimate that's a real ultimate. You basically, it's like the reverse Grizzlebrand. They take the damage and you draw the cards. You get it all. The top one is not so beautiful, but the -3 is actually really good. Anyway, we'll get the vote on that one a little bit later. Average for its power level. Well, this is not the most average planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. This is the worst planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. I don't know about this one. You let me know in the comment section below, Coffee Crew. Okay, it's the worst of the Boluses. The worst Nicol Boluses of Magic the Gathering. Yeah, this is playable, in my opinion. Okay, Tom wants us to talk about Samut, the Tested. Testing our patience here. Okay, green, red, 2 generic, 4 loyalty. +1, up to 1 target creature gains double strike until end of turn. Whoop-de-doo. -2. Deals 2 damage divided as you choose among 1 or 2 target creatures and or players. So it's like a fire. It's like an ice. Sorry, not an ice. The fire of fire and ice. Very underwhelming. And -7. Search your library for up to 2 creatures. Creatures and or planeswalker cards. Put them onto the battlefield and shuffle your library. That's not bad, but that's really hard to get to if you're just going +1, double striking your creatures over and over again. Yeah, very, very underwhelming planeswalker. Basically tickling your opponent's creatures. Really depends on you having something big on your side of the board. Garrick Apex Predator. I thought that was like the big standard bomb at the time. From John from accounting. Yeah, I remember there was like big hype for this card at the time. Although I don't remember what happened to it after that. Maybe it like completely bombed. Because it has like all these abilities on it, right? Alright, so 7 mana. Who has time to play Planeswalkers at 7 mana? We got a Garrick, +1, destroy another target Planeswalker. Holy crap! That's a +1 ability. +1, put a 3/3 black beast creature token with death touch onto the battlefield. That's good too. That's great defense. -3, destroy target creature. You gain life equal to its toughness. That's also insane. And then the -8 is target opponent gets an emblem with whenever a creature attacks, you get +5/+5 and gain trample until end of turn. The only way you're saying that this card is bad is because it costs 7 mana. Outside of that, the abilities are really, really good. I don't know. I don't think this one counts. We got Gregory here with the super chat. Garrick Primal Hunter. Okay, let's look at another Garrick. Garrick Primal Hunter. Expensive CMC, underwhelming. Yes. I think this is like a pretty typical like dual deck type of card. What they reprinted in like Commander. This looks like something that would go in a dual deck. I mean, it's very generic. It's very green. +1, create a 3/3 green beast token. -3, draw cards equal to the greatest power among creatures you control. Which probably is going to be like 3 or something. And then -6, create a 6/6 green worm creature token for each land you control. We got Brian F with the super chat. Say that about Double Strike again when you control a decent creature with Infect. Well, the decent creature... Well, what's good? The Infector or the Planeswalker? Did we do the new Karn yet? No, we didn't do the new Karn. Which Karn? Which one's new? Oh, the Living Legacy? I think it's the Living Legacy, because all these other Karns are great. Although I'd have never heard of this card seeing play, and it's got a lot, even though it has a lot of words on it. All right, 4 mana for loyalty, +1. Create a tapped Power Stone token. Oh yeah, this is that mana rock that you can only spend to cast. This mana can't be spent to cast non-artifact spells. Well, it's like, it really sucks. You know, give me treasure tokens. Give me something else. The stupid Power Stones are useless. -1, pay any amount of mana. Look at that many cards from the top of your library. Then put those cards into your hand and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. Why am I paying mana for this? This is why I have a Planeswalker. I got the Planeswalker so I don't have to spend mana on the damn thing. I want to sink my mana into my spells and the cards that I'm casting from my hand. Now all of a sudden, this thing's just a huge drain on my account of mana. -7, you get an emblem with tap an untapped artifact you control. This emblem deals 1 damage to any target. I'm getting that, you know, they had this busted history of Karns. Like, they're all bangers, really. Karn Liberated, the Scion of Urza, well, Silver Golem might have sucked, and Karn the Great Creator. Maybe they're trying to balance out the Karns by printing some stinkers once in a while, like Karn the Living Legacy. Oko the Trickster. Not to be mistaken with, Oko. This is like Oko at home. Mom, I want Oko. Well, we have Oko at home. Oko the Trickster. Blue-green, 4 generic. 6 mana Oko. 4 loyalty. Put 2 +1/+1 counters on up to 1 target creature you control. Whatever. 0, until end of turn, Oko the Trickster becomes a copy of target creature you control. Prevent all damage that would be dealt to him this turn. That is a bit weird, but actually a lot more flavorful than the original Oko. Original Oko was like just an elk master, an elk breeder, an elk imposter. Anyway, -7, until end of turn. You know what's funny? You could, okay, you turn Oko into a creature, and then you could elk him with the other Oko. Then -7, until end of turn, each creature you control has base power and toughness 10/10 and gains trample. Each creature you control? Alright then. Not worth it. 6 mana. Get out of here. Is this a Planeswalker? Nico Eris. Oh, yeah, this guy. So blue, blue, white, X. When Nico Eris enters the battlefield, create X shard tokens. They're enchantments with 2, sacrifice this. They're scry 1, then draw a card, so they're like a little bit more complicated clues. Then +1, up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. Whenever that creature deals damage to this turn, return it to its owner's hand. What? Whenever up to 1 target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. When you deal damage, you have to return it to your hand? Holy! Why do I want to put my creature back to my hand? Like, every card that sucks starts with, like, return it back to your hand as a clause. Just absolutely terrible. -1, Nico Eris deals 2 damage to target tapped creature for each card you've drawn this turn. Deals 2 damage to target tapped creature. Well, how many cards are you going to draw this turn? Not that many in the grand scheme of things. So it's basically just going to deal 2 damage. And a lot of these abilities, I mean, the loyalty is already low, and loyalty abilities don't move very much. And then -1, create a shard token, which you have to sink more mana into. So you need to put mana to draw the cards from the stupid shards. And then you got to sink mana. No, that's it. You just sink mana into that. You sink mana into that in order to draw the cards to, you know, I don't know, make these abilities a little bit more useful. A little bit more delicious. Where can I go to not buy these Planeswalkers? No, you want to buy the Planeswalkers. If you want to make, if you're playing EDH and you want to play a power 1 level deck, we got to go to FusionGamingOnline.com. They've got all the worst Planeswalkers. They got the Nico Eris, they've got the Oko the Trickster, and they've got Tybalt the Fiend-Blooded. Get all your worst Planeswalkers at FusionGamingOnline.com. And don't forget to use coupon code Nikachu when you do that, though, to get 5% off all your purchases, and it supports the channel. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place for renting Magic cards online. Your ability to play any deck, any format, anytime you want. Don't forget about the Mana Traders series. It is a free tournament to play in every single month with a $15,000 prize pool. The format is different every month, so you got to be thankful that you're renting cards with Mana Traders to participate, and you can play in any event you want. You can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 10% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu_P9S. I know you love this coupon code. A lot of people are using my most popular coupon code Nikachu_P9S. Gotta separate a little bit. You could take it a different way. Phonetically speaking, it could sound like things. All right, we got Anthony. Anthony with the super chat. Grandmaster of Flowers. Does such a card exist? Must be a great person to have on a date. Okay, white, 2 generic, 3 loyalty, Bahamut. Never heard of you, Bahamut. As long as Grandmaster of Flowers has 7 or more loyalties on him, he's a 7/7 dragon god creature with flying and indestructible. Well, that's not bad, but at 3 loyalty, we've got a lot of work to get there. +1, target creature without first strike, double strike, or vigilance can't attack or block until your next turn. So you're telling me if it does have that stuff, it can attack and block. +1, search your library and or graveyard for a card named Monk of the Open Hand. Reveal it, put it into your hand. Monk of the Open Hand. What do we do here, Monk of the Open Hand? We are a 1/1 elf monk. Whenever you cast your second spell each turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Monk of the Open Hand. Wow, this card's terrible. Absolutely atrocious. I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be bad when I didn't hear about this card. But the haircut on Bahamut, that's a 10. The stats are not so good. All right, David with the super chat. ETB effects. Are we referencing something earlier? I have no idea what you're talking about. But thank you so much for the super chat, David. I really appreciate it. Okay, we got Dem with Narset of the Ancient Way. We got the Naya colors, 1 generic, 4 loyalty Narset, +1. You gain 2 life, add blue, white, red to your mana pool. Spend this mana only to cast a non-creature spell, though. You only get 1 of those mana, so you got some, like, a marginal mana ramp. -2, draw a card. Then you may discard a card. When you discard a non-land card this way, Narset of the Ancient Whale deals damage equal to that card's converted mana cost to target creature or planeswalker. So, like, you know, okay, I get the idea. You want to, like, discard Emrakul or something, but then that also means you have to put Emrakul in your deck in order to make use of it. And it's only to creatures, so you can't, like, shoot your opponent's face. -6, you get an emblem with, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, this emblem deals 2 damage to any target. This is like, I am working too hard for too little. That's what this Narset says. I'm working all day, and I'm only getting a few. Nikachu, you just said the night. Oh yeah, sorry, this is Jeskai. Thank you for the correction, Sophia. Yeah, the Jeskai. Jeskai colors and 1. And in Jeskai colors, we ain't playing this card. Okay, the Red Scout with Anissa Ravane. Nissa Ravane. Where did this come from? Oh, Zendikar? Green, 2 generic. This is an old card, and I don't even know it exists. It's on the list. Why did they even reprint this thing? Well, it's not cheap. It's like $10. So I mean, if you want to play Nissa Tribal, I guess you need to go get this thing. You want to make a Nissa deck. Okay, green, 2 generic for 2 loyalty. +1, search your library for a card named Nissa's Chosen and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. Nissa's Chosen. What do you do? Oh, this card! Nissa's Chosen would die, put on the bottom of its owner's library instead, so you get to perpetually put this 2/3 creature out. +1, you gain 2 life for each elf you control. Big deal. Then -7, which is never going to happen. Search your library for any number of elf creature cards and put them onto the battlefield. Holy, okay, that's pretty good. That's a good one. And it's so hard to get to, though. You got a +1 5 times. Is the game still going at that point? Anyway, this is a pretty underwhelming Planeswalker. David with the super chat. The Planeswalker who happens to have you put cards off the field back into your hand. I don't know. You got to give me a name. The Planeswalker who happens to have you put cards off the field back into your hand. Does anyone know what they're talking about? Yeah, the little elf dies to removal. This must have been like a Kaladesh card or something. Can anyone solve this riddle? The Planeswalker that repos the cards. It's a Repo Depot Planeswalker. Optimus Prime? But this is a robot. Anyway, I don't know. Sorry about that. I don't know the... You know, when you super chat, you got to give me the name of what you want to look at. Like what Brian F has done. There's a lot of... Actually, Brian F just leaving a comment, which is fine too. There's a lot of cards that let you proliferate that make all these awful cards totally broken. Then make your totally awful commander deck. And you can call it Totally Awful Commander Deck that is broken because of proliferate. Simple as that. Oh, maybe they were talking... Do you think they were talking about Karn the Great? Karn the Great Creator is one of those broken Planeswalkers in history, though. So we're definitely not going to look at that one. Okay, we got you cure ADN. Nissa. Nature's Artisan. Truth be told, there's a lot of poopy Nissas out there. A green, 4 generic, 5 loyalty, +3, you gain 3 life. Look at me, I'm gaining 3 life over here. And the rest of the commander players are like, who cares? Alright, attack you for commander damage. -4, reveal the top 2 cards of your library, put all land cards from among them onto the battlefield and the rest into your hand. That's not terrible. Actually, no, -4, you're basically sacrificing her to, like, have a little bit of a weird fact or fiction. A very tiny factor fiction. And then there's this minus 12 creatures you can... Again, it's an Anthem effect. We've got, if the ultimate is an Anthem effect, usually it's pretty bad. Simic Nissa. Oh, the Simic Nissa was rough. Yeah, Simic Nissa was terrible. I playtested that card. This one, right? Yeah, this is a bad one. It looks good. It looks good on the surface. I mean, you could get this thing out for 3. I mean, this is... People thought this was going to be broken like Oko was going to be broken. So blue-green, you just pay 1 for 1 loyalty, which is totally fine. The problem is the scry is not really relevant. Like, it doesn't do anything. It's not... like, you scry and then she dies. Then 0, look at the top card of your library. If it's a land card or creature card with converted mana cost less than or equal to the number of loyalty counters on Nissa, you may put that card onto the battlefield. But that's a lot of work. Like, first you gotta set it up. You have to make sure she's got a lot of loyalty, and then you gotta scry the important card on top of your library. And then -6, untap up to 2 target lands you control. They become 5/5 elemental creatures with flying and haste until end of turn. They're still lands. Polarity! Vraska, Regal Gorgon. Ah yes, 7 mana. Nothing says bad like paying 7 mana into your Planeswalker. But for 5 loyalty, we go +2, put a +1/+1 counter on up to 1 target creature. Oh, gains menace until end of turn. Well, that's just great. Okay, at least we're destroying the creature fire for -3. Unlike Liliana, that's like, okay, we're gonna go minus. What was it? We have to go +1, put a -1/-1 counter on it, and then go minus, and then kill it. And then what's our Anthem here? -10 for each creature card in your graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. Why? But why? I said. Yeah, maybe there's something about proliferate that I'm not seeing here that makes all of this broken. I don't know. Everyone's mentioning like Gideons, Jaces, Nissas. Okay, let's go see a Jace. Jace, Arcane Strategist. Jace. There's actually a ton of bad Jaces out there. Okay, blue, 4 generic. 4 loyalty Jace. Whenever you draw your second card each turn, put a counter on target creature you control. That doesn't even feel like a very Jace thing to do. Alright, get stronger, my little fellow. +1, draw a card. Well, now that's a Jace thing to do. And that's your second... So basically, it's like +1, draw a card, and put a counter on something. Then -7. Creatures you control can't be blocked this turn. In a blue deck... When are we attacking here? Well, I mean, maybe if we're a Merfolk deck, it might be relevant. Maybe. Can we say all uncommon Planeswalkers are terrible except Narset? No! There's a lot of busted uncommon Planeswalkers. You got Narset, you got Ashiok, Dream Render, you have, there's a lot of playable ones. It's more playable than just Narset. But you can mention them. Oh, the Cunning Castaway. Jace. Cunning Castaway. I think this is like... This is a jank Planeswalker. This one can be fun if you're trying to pull off, like, infinite, you know, Jace tokens. Or, like, make millions of, you know, copies of Jace Cunning Castaway. Because there's all those counter doubler effects, so you can get Jace to come into play with like 6 loyalty and like make infinite Jaces. But outside of that, the card is pretty garbage. Yeah, I know it's 3 loyalty, but you know, the +1, whenever 1 or more creatures you control deal combat damage to a player this turn, draw a card. You loot? We go +1 just to loot? Are we making blue illusions? When did Jace do any of this stuff? I don't remember that in the lore. When did Jace attack with other creatures? He seems like a loner to me. Okay, we got Anthony here with Heo the Shield Mage. Who is that? Oh, there we go. You have hexproof. White 2. There you go. Here's your plain. It's like Leyline of Sanctity that can die, which is very unfortunate for Teo. So we can like, so if you're up against a burn deck, they'll be like, okay, well, I'll just have to spend 2 burn spells on this. You have Hexproof. -2, create a 0/3 white wall creature token with Defender. Defend me, please, little 0/3 wall. Yeah, not gonna last for very long. It only goes down from there. What else we've got? Broman. Sarkhan the Mad. I have a feeling someone's going to take issue with this. Sarkhan the Mad. This was... I swear this saw play in Standard at the time, but maybe I'm... No, maybe I'm wrong. Yeah, this was a Rise of the Eldrazi. What is this guy doing with the Eldrazi's? Because this came out in Rise of Eldrazi. Okay, Sarkhan the Mad. Red, black, 3 generic, 7 loyalty Planeswalker. 0. Reveal the top card of your library, put into your hand, then it deals damage to himself. Even that card's converted mana cost. I do not want to deal damage to myself for all the cards that I draw. No, that is not the deal here. And then and at the time that really sucked because you know, this was the Eldrazi set, so you could reveal like an Emrakul or something in your sealed pool and then just wipe them out. And everyone got an Emrakul as a promo card. -2, target creature's controller sacrifices it, then that player puts a 5/5 red dragon creature token with flying onto the battlefield. So you can sack your creatures and make dragons, and then -4, each dragon creature you control deals damage equal to its power to target player. A little awkward for 5 mana, especially in the black colors. Okay, we got the Wandering Pict. The Wandering Pict. Saheeli Sublime Artificer. What's wrong with this one? There's nothing wrong with this card. Nothing wrong. Because it's like a young pyromancer. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you get a 1/1 colorless servo. So basically it's for blue and for red. I actually think this is a good card. I mean, the ability sucks, but you're playing it actually for the static ability, if you're playing it at all. Target artifact you control becomes a copy of another target artifact creature you control until end of turn. So yeah, this ability sucks. I've never seen anyone use that ability, but I've seen plenty of people use this static ability. You're just basically playing like a 3-mana young pyromancer. But it's not bad. It's okay. Okay, we got Nayla, Princess of Hokuto, the Royal Scions. What's the vote on this? So, okay, I will admit that this card sees no play. The card sees no play. I wish it did see play, but it doesn't. But I think of all the bad planeswalkers out there, this has to have the highest upside, the absolute highest upside. It's a planeswalker for 3 mana. It goes to 6 loyalty immediately when you go +1 to draw a card and discard a card, so you're looting. You +1, target creature gets +2/+0 until and gains first strike and trample until end of turn. So you can turn any random stupid little creature on the battlefield into a big attacker. So if it was +2, it's basically a 4 power creature because no one wants to block it because of the first strike. And the ultimate is pretty backbreaking. -8, draw 4 cards, and then you deal damage equal to the number of cards in your hand to a player. So I think it needs a home. But I'll admit, like, it sees no play anywhere. It's garbage. Okay, what do we got next? We got a suggestion. Shred, I've lost too many games trying to use this card. I know. Like I said, I think it has we all think it has potential, and maybe that's the trap. They balanced it out just well enough to make us think that this thing is broken, but in actuality, it's absolute garbage. Okay, we got Ob Nixilis, the Hate Twisted from Adria. Ob Nixilis, the Hate. Give in to the hate, Ob Nixilis. Oh, it's this guy. Alright, so here's another War of the Spark special. Black, 3 generic, 5 loyalty. Whenever an opponent draws a card, Ob Nixilis will deal 1 damage to that player. Yeah. And -2, destroy target creature. Its controller draws 2 cards. Oh god. Well, we blew it up, but at what price? I would never use that ability. I mean, unless the creature was definitely going to kill me. But I would never use that ability. Not in a million years. Destroy target creature. And we paid 5 mana for this guy. We would expect the abilities to be a little bit stronger than that. At least give us, like, make it like -3 and destroy the creature. No strings attached. This is Shieldred at home. Alright, let's look at a Gideon from PM. Gideon. Champion of Justice. The Justice League. We've got a Gideon. White, 2 generic, 4 loyalty. +1, put a loyalty counter on Gideon. Champion of Justice for each creature target opponent controls. So we're trying to ramp it up to... Otherwise, it's... Okay, it's at least a creature, right? How big is it? Becomes a human soldier creature with power and toughness equal to the number of loyalty. Okay, so the bigger this thing gets, the bigger Gideon gets, and then you can exile all other permanents. It's like, meh. It's not my first pick Gideon. There's a lot of better Gideons out there. Hence why this is one of the worst Planeswalkers. This is Sparta art. Madness! And then he goes in for the attack. Too many words. Yeah, you know, this is like one of those custom Magic cards where you want to put more abilities and stuff on it, but then you have to shrink the font in order to make it work. Someone at Wizards of the Coast is like, no, we gotta have all these words on it. It's got attack equals the number of loyalty on the damn card. Damn it. Factory says, to be honest, I was hoping to see something I might be able to add to my deck that I didn't know, but everything is so bad. Well, that's the whole point of the show. We'll have a good Planeswalker show one day. Don't worry, we'll get out good Planeswalkers, but today we're cranking out bad Planeswalkers. Oh, Teferi, Timeless Voyager. Yeah, that's right. You got to balance out some of the good... I mean, Teferi is one of the more broken characters in the game. You got to balance out the good Planeswalkers with the bad ones. All right, blue, 4 generic... Or, sorry, the good versions with the bad ones. 4 loyalty, +1 draw a card. None of that looting crap. -3, put target creature on top of its owner's library. That's actually, like, not bad. It's so the problem is, for 6 mana, I don't really want to be doing these things. And then at -8, each creature target opponent phases out. Why? Until your next turn, they can't phase in. So they don't come back for, like, what? Till each creature target opponent controls phases out. This is one of the worst ultimates I've ever seen. Only one opponent, not even all the opponents. Until end of your next turn, they can't phase in. Oh, I get it. This is for Commander. It's like, okay, I'm removing all your stuff. All your creatures are gone. All right, guys, go get them. Go get them. There's no creatures in front of them. So I think that's the idea. You phase out the creatures, and they don't come back until your next turn, which leaves everyone else at the table open to the possibility of attacking them. But this is way too funsy for me. Can't judge a walker on ultimate. I will definitely judge a walker on ultimate. I'll judge all day and night. Dovin, Grand Arbiter. Thanks so much for the super chat, Gregory. Oh, Dovin. Dovin is like a bit of a stinker overall, isn't he? Like, I don't think he has like one good Planeswalker. He's not one good variation. Blue, white, 1 generic, 3 loyalty. Until end of turn, whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to a player, put a loyalty counter on Dovin Grand Arbiter. And then -1, create a 1/1 colorless artifact creature token with flying and you gain a life. I go -1 to put a 1/1 garbage into play and gain a life. When it came out Ravnica Allegiance. I guess they had to be very careful about making 3 loyalty Planeswalkers at the time. But they weren't careful with Oko, Thief of Crowns. That is correct. I am the judge and the jury. And then -7, which will never happen. Look at the top 10 cards of your library, put 3 of them into your hand, and the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I just burned 5 turns to make this happen, and I drew 3 cards. I gotta dig through time, basically. This is the best Dovin. They weren't careful with Teferi Time Raveler either. Yeah, I mean, well, you know, the problem with Teferi Time Raveler, it's just they were not symmetrical static abilities. If it was symmetrical, none of this would be a problem, but it's those abilities only affect one person and doesn't affect the other one. Okay, we have Dovin. All right, let's look at another Dovin. Dovin, Architect of Law. I think we saw the Samet one already. I think we looked at... Did we look at Tyrant Smasher? Maybe we didn't. I'll check it out after this. Blue, white, 4 generic, 5 loyalty Dovin. +1. You gain 2 life and draw a card. This is like one of those welcome to the game Planeswalkers. Welcome to Magic the Gathering. Here's a 6-mana Planeswalker. Now get out of here. Get... Okay, +1. You gain 2 life and draw a card. -1. Tap target creature. Doesn't untap during its controller's next untap step. That's what I'm talking about. I want my blue cards to only do that. The tapping and doesn't untapping, I think, is a fair, like, removal for blue. Instead of that -5, -0 nonsense. And then we got -9. Tap all permanents target opponent controls. That player skips their next untap step. They should also just skip their turn. 333 with the super chat. Mu Yanling. Oh, we looked at Mu Yanling. Which one didn't we? We didn't look at Celestial Wind, though. And I'm sure this one is just as bad. Oh, no, we did look at the Celestial Wind. Oh, maybe we didn't look at this one. We didn't look at the OG Mu Yanling. And you did ask us to look at Mu Yanling. So there's Mu Yanling. Blue, blue, 4 generic, 5 loyalty, +2. Target creature can't be blocked this turn. Big whoop. -3, draw 2 cards. So this is like a 6-mana... what's the card called? The 3-mana draw 2, because that's basically what it is. We're just drawing 2 cards, and then Mu Yanling ain't gonna survive the next untap step. Predition. I don't remember what the stupid blue card is. And -10. Tap all creatures your opponents control. You take an extra turn after this one. We need to bring Detain back. Yeah, we could do that. That would definitely work. That's definitely a possibility. Bring the tension back. Okay, what were we going to look at? We were going to look at a Samet. Samet. Tyrant? Oh, this one. So hybrid, Gruul, 2 generic. 5 loyalty Samet. Creatures you control have haste, which I think is pretty good. It's a pretty good ability. But the static is okay. There are other cards that will do it for cheaper and won't die to creature attacks, but this ability is pretty poopy. Target creature gets +2, +1, and gains haste until end turn. Scry 1. Why are we giving it haste? Oh, are we giving something else haste? But how would we ever use this? Did they proofread this card? I think this is this looks like a situation where Wizards of the Coast made a big oopsie. I was thinking, like, well, maybe you could give another creature haste, but, like, then it's not their turn, and it's gonna be, and the haste is useless by the time it gets to their turn anyway. Target creature. Am I reading this right? Creatures you control have haste, and then we can give the target creature +2, +1, and gains haste until end of turn. Why would you give your opponent's stuff haste on your turn? I mean, yeah, exactly. What a redundant ability. The Planeswalker that was not proofread. This would make an interesting show, but I don't know if anyone could think up enough cards. Like, cards with a redundant abilities. This is completely redundant. When she's on 1 loyalty. Oh! When she's on 1 loyalty, she'll... But it still has haste. But still has haste, even if you don't, like... sack your Samet. I don't get it. In Commander, you can haste an opponent creature to remove a player. Or you could like target an illusion or something. You can haste an opponent's creature to remove a player. I don't get it. Scry 1 plus 2 1 would make or break. Maybe. Yeah, loses the passive when it dies. But the thing is, you don't have to use the ability. You just don't use it, and your creature has haste anyway. It is there so that you kill that useless thing. I don't get it. Okay. Oh no. But I get it. So you want okay. So if it's at 4, loyalty, yeah. So you can buff a creature and it will still have a haste if it entered the battlefield. This is just ridiculously bad, and bad proofreading. I do strongly believe maybe it's there just for flavor, but it's completely pointless. Yeah, you want the buff. You want a buff no matter what. I guess you could use it politically to give haste to an opponent's creature with a tap ability. Oh, there we go. Okay, so there actually is some incredibly niche use to this. So yeah, someone plays a creature out, it has a tap ability, and you want to get it online, you could do that. All right. Do I have a clapping sound effect? I don't. What's the closest I got here? We hit the jackpot. We found a purpose for you, Samet. Outside of that, you're terrible. The absolute garbage. Chandra Blaze. This is one of those old Chandras. Oh, it's one of those Welcome to Magic the Gathering Chandras. Red for generic Chandra. Discard a card for +1. +1, discard a card. If a red card is discarded this way, deals 4 damage to target creature or planeswalker. Sorry, creature or player. That's not bad! Turns any random red spell into a burn spell, and a pretty hefty burn spell at that. -2, each player discards his or her hand, then draws 3 cards. Meh. -7, cast any number of red instant or sorcery cards from your graveyard without paying their mana costs. And you can get that in 3 turns. I mean, it's not a good planeswalker. I'm not going to defend this thing, but it's also not one of the worst ones. This is like one of the mediocre planeswalkers. I'm not going to put in any of my decks, though. Chris with Jace, Architect of Thought is great. That saw a lot of standard play at the time. It also saw modern play until it got pushed out by the other Jaces. Yeah, welcome to Magic the Gathering. Here's a planeswalker that doesn't see play in Constructed. Exactly. It's what they do. And it's nice and cheap and affordable. Chandra's from the OG Zendikar set. But this wasn't the first line of planeswalkers, right? I think the first ones were from Lorwyn. The OG Wanderer? What was the OG one? The Wanderer. What were all the weird you know, my favorite conspiracy theory on this one was that this was Emrakul. I thought that was pretty hilarious. I almost bought into it. Like, hey, it's magic. You could like transform into something, right? And then all of a sudden, fools! Wanderer takes off their hat and a bunch of spaghetti falls out and it turns into the giant Emrakul because it could -2 exile target creature with power 4 or greater. It seemed like it was an Eldrazi ability. Anyway, so for a white 3 generic 5 loyalty, you can remove really big creatures from the game. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and or permanents you control. Not really something people love though. Wanderer is good, though. All right, so maybe some people have some love for the Wanderer. Aren't we all planeswalkers? Are you traversing the plains or something, Levy? What are you doing? What kind of magical power that you have that I don't? But this is not bad. All right, we got 2 people to say not bad, so we're gonna say the Wanderer is good. All right, not good, not bad enough for this show. That's all I need to hear. 2 people say, hey, do you know what? I like that planeswalker. I use it. The Wanderer was fine and limited. Oh, God. I'm not going to use limited as the barometer for what's a good card. Because there's a lot of good cards in limited that are completely useless outside of it. Fireburn, thanks so much for the super chat. Although, we looked at Oko the Trickster already. Take a peek at it again, just for you. Yeah, big 6-mana dummy. I used to play the Wanderer. That would shut burn down, right? No, it's combat damage, right? Prevent all... Oh, no, it does. Prevent all non-combat damage that would be dealt to you and or other permanents you control. Yeah, that's right. Take that. I don't know why I've never seen that against the burn player. I guess Leyline of Sanctity is just better. Like, if you get this out by turn 4, you might be dead if you're on the draw. The burn hate. Oko Rave Lord. Yeah. We're going to a party. Ashiok Sculptor of Fears. Sweet art! This is one of the best arts for a Planeswalker I've ever seen. This is really cool. I've never heard of the card before, though, so it must be terrible. Black, blue, 4 generic, 4 loyalty, +2 draw card. Each player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. Oh god, that's not gonna work out for you. There's like almost no deck out there. Okay, I wouldn't say no deck. There's a lot of decks out there that can use their graveyard. It's gonna backfire in the right moment. Look at these loyalty abilities. Okay, so you can only +2 for a little while, then -5. Put target creature card from a graveyard onto the battlefield under your control. That's not terrible. Although I have to admit, you are like spending 2 turns to do this, and very likely your Ashiok is going to be done for afterwards. And then -11, gain control of all creatures target opponent controls. Doesn't seem that bad. Well, I've never heard of this card. I don't know, is this a card that just went under the radar? It doesn't seem that bad until you feel the Dredge deck, and then it's all over. Tibalt Valky, because you can't cascade Tibalt side for 3 mana anymore. Okay, but this is not entirely true. You can, what's it called? Bring to light this card into play. You can bring to light a Tibalt Cosmic Imposter. I believe you can. Yeah, I think you can bring to light it in play. So it's not as bad as it used to be. Can't ultimate off of Doubling Season. Why not? It's bad. Oh, so you oh, I see. So you like put into play, you double the counters as it goes to 8, but you still can't ultimate it. Yeah. So when you're playing your Doubling Season deck, you want to make sure that you can ultimate the Planeswalker the moment it enters the battlefield. Ashiok, Sculptor of Fears. They sculpted this card to make sure you couldn't abuse it with Doubling Season. I think it could be pretty cool turning their lands into their creatures and stealing their creatures and lands. Oh, well, you go do that. Is this a Planeswalker? Gaia Drone, Dihada? Well, I'll be a monkey's uncle. This card exists. Oh, this is... and it's from Modern Horizons. Modern Horizons 2. Or is it... yeah, it's Modern Horizons 2, right? Yeah. Okay, we got in the Grixis colors. Grixis, 1 generic, 4 loyalty Planeswalker. And it's got so many words on it. Why have I never heard of this card? Protection from permanents with corruption counters on them. Alright, so we're going to corrupt our opponents. +1. Each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. Put a corruption counter on up to 1 other target creature or Planeswalker. And very likely... The problem with this, like, who cares? You're just gonna get... It's just gonna get smacked and die anyway. Then -3. Gain control of target creature or Planeswalker until end of turn. Untap it and put a corruption counter on it. It gains haste until end of turn. Oh, God. What is that? What are those steal effects in Limited? Where you, like, you steal a creature, it gains haste, but then you gotta give it back until end of turn. Those cards are a trap. They're a trap, I say. And that's what's a trap about this card. You're stealing creatures and then giving it, you know, smacking the opponent with their own creature and giving it back. It's not good. It's never been a good ability. Active Treason. Active Treason is a trap, in my opinion. In Limited and in Constructed. -7. Gain control of each permanent with a corruption counter on it. But it's never going to happen. Yeah, active treason. We have a 4-mana active Why would I want to play active treason in 3 colors? And that's the problem with this. Gaeadrone Dihada. Anyway, yeah, this is a terrible card. Eliwick. Is that a real creature? We got Eliwick. Oh, this fellow. Cute picture. Got a little froggy and everything. Okay, green, 2 generic, 4 loyalty. 4 loyalty, Eliwick. +1, venture into the dungeon. Into the dungeon we go. Then -2, look at the top 6 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card from among them and put it into your hand. If it's legendary, you gain 3 life. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. So basically a 4-mana impulse, sort of. Not terrible, but when we're playing Planeswalkers, we want a little something better than that. And then the emblem is, of course, a anthem effect. Creatures you control have trample and haste and get +2/+2 for each differently named dungeon you've completed. Which you're not even gonna complete 1 dungeon, probably. Venture into the dungeon. Seen this before and it didn't help my opponent much. I don't blame you. We got Zariel. Mentioned by Blighted Agent. I also never heard of this card. Red, 2 generic. Also, weapon bleeding into the text of the card. Zariel Arcaduct. Oh, so Archduke of Avernus. Alright, 4 loyalty. +1. Creatures you control get +1/+0 and gain haste until end of turn. Okay, maybe this will help the future creatures, but frankly, the moment this enters the battlefield, you tapped out probably. No new creatures enter the battlefield. You don't need the haste. So it doesn't really do anything the turn it comes into play. 0 mana, create a 1/1 red devil creature token with whenever this creature dies, it deals 1 damage to any target. Pathetic! And -6, you get an emblem with at the end of the first combat phase on your turn, untap target creature you control. After this phase, there is an additional combat phase. Big deal. Pretty pathetic. So you get an extra combat for -6, which is just beyond crazy. Space Bellerin. I thought that card was supposed to be good. I think the Forgotten Realms Planeswalkers are weaker because they aren't Planeswalkers themselves. Maybe, but they could have made it good. Okay, let's look at Space Jace. I thought this card was supposed to see Legacy play. Okay, let's look up Jace and I'll look up the Marine. Space Marine, we're going to space, Jace. Why are you going into space? I don't know. Oh, I can't find him. Jace's protection, scrutiny. Jace's defeat. Was he called Jace? I can't find the Jace, Space Jace. Oh, Jace. What was he called then? Oh, Space Bellerin. Space Bellerin. True story. Pichu, pichu, pichu! It's there with his zapper gun. Or it's probably gonna make, you know, those waves, like those radio wave looking things, and then turn someone into, I don't know, turns people into illusions. Alright, blue, white, 2 generic, 3 mana, Space Sculptor, Space Bellerin divides the battlefield into alpha, beta, and gamma sectors. If a creature isn't assigned to a sector, its controller assigns it to one. Opponents assign first. So creatures in each sector can be blocked this turn only by creatures in the same sector. So we created like different battlefields. This is stupid. -1, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature in the sector of your choice. And -5, destroy all creatures in the sector of your choice. I think this card doesn't see play because no one wants to play with this garbage. Who would want to play with this? It's an Unfinity card, but it's perfectly legal in Commander. I don't like this Jace because of how long it takes to resolve that ability. And then keep track of the sectors. Okay, this is my alpha sector. I'm gonna swing with my alpha creatures. I'm gonna swing at the beta creatures. And what, we got a gamma one? Yeah, a gamma sector. I wouldn't put up with that. This isn't Yu-Gi-Oh! Do they have different battlefields in Yu-Gi-Oh? I'm not familiar. I have no idea how Yu-Gi-Oh! Works. It just seems like they don't have mana. That's the only thing I understand. And maybe I'm wrong about that too. The Alpha Quadrants. Where were they in Voyager? They were lost. In Star Trek. Where is Earth from? Oh well, it doesn't matter. We'll just move on. Anyway, yeah, this card's terrible. I don't know. I can't tell if it's actually good or bad though. It's probably useless though. Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, a Johnny Vengeant was good, but now just plays a Lightning Helix. A Johnny Vengeant. Oh, this one. Can we say it was good at the time? All right, so for 4 mana, you can like just tap down someone's land, or tap down a permanent in general. Yeah, and it's just a Lightning Helix. This used to be really good when there weren't any other Planeswalkers in existence, and then as they added more Planeswalkers, this now is just straight up bad. No one can make use of this. It's not good in one-on-one. It's not good in Commander. Just put them all in one sector, but then you can't block anything from the other sectors. All the OG Lorwyn Walkers shows power creep. What is the only one that's playable? Probably Bellerin. Johnny doesn't even tap. It just stops untapping. Okay, in Voyager, they went to the Delta Quadrant. Accidentally went to the Delta Quadrant. All right, so that's one quadrant that is not in the space Bellerin. The Delta Quadrant. So many quadrants. Tyler says, in Yu-Gi-Oh! You have a set number of monster creature zones. Well, okay, that's one rule I didn't know a second ago. Captain Dynamite says, I miss the days of a Johnny Vengeance in Modern. Those were the days. This is one of those cards that you'd say, you know, back in my day, this thing like burned down like every creature in Modern except Tarmogoyf, and then if you were lucky, you blew up all their lands, and you basically sealed the game at that point. We've seen some Obnixiluses. I don't know if Nixilus. I don't know if we saw the Hate Twisted. Oh yeah, we saw this one. This was terrible. All right, let's get one more. One more. Domri City Smasher. Finish it off with Fireburn. Domri again. Domri, nobody likes you. You're a cool Planeswalker in theory, but you're all clunky and hard to work. Green-red for generic. Welcome to... It's the 6 mana Planeswalkers. I am officially calling welcome to Magic the Gathering Planeswalkers. 4 loyalty, +2 creatures you control, get +1/+1 and gain haste until end of turn. -3 deals 3 damage to any target. You basically gotta sack this thing for that. And then -8, put 3 +1/+1 counters on each creature you control. Those creatures gain trample until end of turn. Most of the War of the Spark uncommon walkers are bad. Well, they have to do that because otherwise, if they were OP at uncommon, you know, that would make a completely busted standard format. Well, thank you very much for everyone being here today. I hope you enjoyed the worst Planeswalkers in Magic the Gathering. We have this show Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. Thank you so much, everyone, for your support. The super chats, everyone who's a member on YouTube and also a patron on Patreon. If you love the show and you also want to support it, links are in the description. But because of all your support, hey, I got to be here every morning, or every weekday morning, for that matter. I would never miss a Coffee and MTG show. Not for those I would never miss out on those super chats. But thank you guys for showing up to the channel, because without all of you, without the coffee crew, I'm useless, and the show is useless. Only because of you guys, we know that every Domri, every like 6 and 7 mana Planeswalker, and every character I've never heard of is a terrible Planeswalker. Oh, thank you so much, Damon, for your super chat, the contribution to the show. I really appreciate it. And we're gonna, as the start to end the year, we're gonna start the next year off with an amazing Coffee and MTG. So, as usual, keep brewing up those coffees, my coffee crew, and we'll keep brewing up the magic. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you at the next cup.